So you've heard about this thing called the 6 foot track ultramarathon. And you thought, yeah, I want to do that one. And then you trained hard and got a qualifier at an approved trail or road event. And then you realised you weren't guaranteed an entry and had to try and get in via the lottery process. And then you got in via the lottery process and had to remember you only had a certain time to register to hold your spot. Otherwise your spot goes to someone else in the second lottery. And then you read the fine print and found out that you have to finish in under 7 hours or it doesn't count as a finish in what usually takes hikers 3 days to do. So you're telling me if I don't do under 7 hours, that doesn't classify as finishing?
You serious?
Yes, I'm serious. Welcome to the 6 foot track ultramarathon. Looks pretty quiet at the moment, but on the second Saturday morning each March, it's full of spectators and hundreds of runners getting off buses in different waves, all eager to get to the other end in under 7 hours. The atmosphere here is something different. For those that are attempting this for the first time, you'll understand why many others are here not just for their second or third time, but some have been fortunate enough to be here more than 30 times. The race you're about to experience will give you everything in terms of trail running: wide trail, single technical trail, steep uneven stairs, long steep climbs, long nagging climbs, creek crossings, and not to forget the iconic Cox's River crossing. This is not a road marathon with 3 kilometres extra tagged onto it. This is the 6 foot track. Get your preparation right, train hard, give the course respect, and it will be a day you won't forget. I guarantee it. Skipp Phoenix here. I was one of the 7-hour wave pacers in the 2023 6 foot track ultramarathon with my mate Nigel. This short video will be one in a series that's going to cover the whole distance of the 6 foot track from here at the start line all the way out to the finish out near Glen Caves. The video series will show you some of the terrain, a breakdown of each of the sections, some ideas on how to deal with the elevation. But for today, we're going to cover from Explorer's Tree down to the Megalong Rd crossing. In this first 8 kilometres, it's a combination of technical single trail downstairs, some wide fire trail, and then some more single trail again out to the road crossing. The first 600 metres is downhill wide trail, but be careful not to get too carried away in the hype and misplace your feet. You then hit Nellies Glen for around 700 metres of technical, wet, slippery, uneven bush stairs. For all but the first 2 to 3 waves, this will become a conga line in parts. So exercise patience and don't be one of those whose race is over before it gets going. Then, once you cross a creek and rocks at about 1.4 k's in, you'll find yourself on technical single trail again until you pop out at the bottom around the 2 kilometre mark onto some nice wide trail. This next 5 kilometres is probably the easiest part of the race, a gentle downhill, and if you want to make up time from the slow descent down Nellies, this is the place to do it. You will then climb a small ladder over a fence and traverse a single trail for about 1.5 k's until you hit the Megalong Rd crossing, which is 8 kilometres in. Alright, let the fun begin. A quick training tip for this event. Now, Nellies Glen probably requires the most concentration in terms of foot placement across the whole of the course. The single technical trail down Nellies Glen has a great variety of options for you to trip on if you're not paying attention, which includes wet rocks, stairs, tree roots, dry rocks, slippery stairs, uneven stairs, and more wet rocks. If you haven't experienced it before race day, do your best to come up and see them for yourself. Or worst case scenario, try to practice on similar terrain if you can find 700 meters of this sort of stuff, but nothing really compares to the real thing. A quick safety tip too is my suggestion, especially in this first kilometre and a half, is that if someone is on your hammer and wants to pass you, just pause and let them go. You're better off letting them through than feeling pressured to go at a pace that either you're not comfortable with, or that will increase the likelihood of you risking tripping over, injuring yourself, and potentially ending your race very early on that Saturday morning. Alright, so once we've got past the single technical stair section, you've had a kilometre of just standard single trail, and then you'll pop out at the bottom onto some nice wide stuff. In terms of average pacing down to the Megalong Rd crossing, you want to try and be through there in under an hour and 5 minutes. That'll keep you ahead of the 7-hour wave pace target. As a quick reference, as you can see from the table, the 7-hour pace coming down Nellies Glen is around 17 or 18 minutes for the first 2 kilometres. Now, it's highly likely that you're going to get caught up if you're in one of the later waves, and it might take you more than that to get out, and that's why it's important on this section that you try to make up some time. In this section, from the start at Nellies Glen down to the Megalong Rd crossing, you actually lose about 600 metres of elevation. 500 metres of that is roughly in the first 2 kilometres, which just goes to show that that next sort of 5 or 6 k's is quite a nice easy downhill section. If you do think you've fallen behind from Nellies Glen in terms of being ahead of the 7-hour wave paces, a little mental trick for this section, if you are falling a little bit behind, is to try and treat it like a park run, a nice easy 27 to 28 minute pace. There'll be plenty of people around you, so don't panic. Just do what you can to get to the Megalong crossing in under an hour and 5 minutes. And don't forget to look back up to where you've just come from if you've got a spare 10 seconds. The views up to the escarpment are pretty good. Alright, we're about 7 kilometres in. We've finished the wide trail section. Now you'll climb over this little step ladder and hit the single trail. If the aid station locations are in the same spots as 2023, then before you hit Megalong Rd, you'll have 2 that you'll pass through, one at 4.3 kilometres and one here at 7 kilometres. Depending on your hydration strategy and your fluid intake, you might not need to stop at these first 2, but it's just handy knowing that they are there before you hit Megalong Rd. If you enjoy your background music through headphones, that's great, but in this first section they aren't allowed. Headphones are only allowed after you actually cross the Cox's River, and also, given that we're really early into the race, if you thought about bringing hiking poles, probably not a good idea, because hiking poles aren't allowed in this event. Alright, here we are at the Megalong Rd crossing. So we're now 8 kilometres in. We've come all the way down from Nellies Glen, and now we're about to hit the next section down to the river. I hope this has given you a good short overview of some of the terrain that you can expect, locations of the aid stations, and some ideas on pacing to make sure you stay ahead of the 7-hour wave pacers and sweepers. Keep an eye out for more videos in the rest of this series. Episode 2 is Megalong Rd out to Allum Creek. Episode 3 is Allum Creek out to the end of the Black Range. And then the final episode is from the junction at the end of the Black Range out to the finish line. I'm Skipp Phoenix. Stay safe, and wherever you're running, make sure you enjoy yourself. Oh, it's way too early for a coffee.